Hello again. This is Kim Victoria, and I want to finish this small journal that I had started in part 1 of Accordion Pockets Love Journal. So in Accordion Pockets Love Journal, and I'll put the link to that first video in the description below, I went completely through this journal and showed it to you and talked about it. So then I started this journal, and I've made a little progress on it, so I will go through that with you, and I will finish it with you in this video and show you one of the uses for it that I've decided to do with it. So in the first thing you might notice different from the previous video is that I've got some ribbon here. So my plan is for this to be the closure. It'll come around like this, and then we can tie a bow, and that will hold it closed because it still kind of wants to flop around. Now we'll get to that. So right now, all I've done is glued it in place on these back flaps, getting ready to put the end papers on, the covers. So I'm going to grab some scrap paper here, and I've got my glue handy. And I have some paper cut from the same type of scrapbook paper, and I've cut it to the exact same size. You don't want it sized larger than the rest of the pages because then they'll get bent. This is a very much of an exact sized journal type. So let's get started, and I'll do this kind of sped up. Okay, so you might have noticed, even though it was sped up, that there's a little time to make sure that these are wiggled around with this glue so that we get an accurate lining up. Okay, so now that we've got our covers on there, one of the things I wanted to do was put something in those pockets that I created in the first video. And that was these little, by not only gluing these two sides, I wound up with a little pocket. Now what happened though, and this is something to consider, is I could have just put a little glue here and a little glue here, and I could have had a longer pocket. But I did put glue all the way across there, so it's a pretty short little pocket. What I did was I made these little tags, just little bitty tags, but they open up like this. So all I needed to do was, well, it was just cut the size that I wanted to cut so that it would fit in there. Whoops. So it would fit in there. And I decided that I didn't want the tag to stick out. Now, of course, I could have made longer tags, and they could stick out from the top like that. But I decided to make little shorties. And here's a little tip that I learned. So I started out with just a rectangular piece of paper, and I just figured that out. You'll have to figure it out depending on what size your journal is. But you know, you get a lot of these little plastic or cardboard cards in the mail, and you can cut them so that you have a template for tags that you make. And I thought, well, that's really handy. That way I don't have to buy anything. So all you have to do is line it up. And there you go. And then what I decided to do was, since I had made this could be just one tag, you know, just a solid piece. But I decided what I wanted to do was have it open up. So the only place I want to put some kind of a hanger is just on one side, so that when it closes, I'm not putting it through the whole thing. Okay. So that's the short and sweet of that. And I made a tag for every one of those little pockets. And then as to what is going to go in here, I'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to, well, no, let's go ahead and do that. So my original idea of making this 8-inch by 8-inch folded up into this accordion book was so that I could put in ATCs, which are artist trading cards. And they are a card size of 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And they have, if you look them up, you'll see, oh my goodness, just tons and tons of ideas on Pinterest and Instagram and all sorts of places. And their origination was artists wanted to create small pieces of art that they could trade with each other. Well, I haven't made any in quite a while, but I enjoyed making them. So I figured it was time to start making ATCs again. So this is what I came up with. I've made a nice little stack of them. So these are all brand spanking new. Get our little fragments out of the way there. And here's what I did. And the idea was, now this is a little piece of fabric. And what I did was I put a very light coat of glue on the white cardstock. Actually, this was light blue cardstock. You probably, I don't know that you can see it very well, but it's a very light blue cardstock, and just printed out these little words. And then what I did was, after that was dry, I folded it over and put another piece of paper on the back. And I need to put my name on the back of these, and I haven't done that yet. But so look how nicely it fits in there. But actually, I don't think I like the blue one in there. I think this butterfly one works really well. And this is all rubber stamping. This is a rubber stamp that I masked. And the butterfly wings are actually from like the floral department, where what I did was I peeled it off the plastic and then glued it down to the card and masked it in order to do all the background stuff. That looks pretty nice right there, doesn't it? So here's the next one. And that's an actual little sparkly star. And this is a piece of tissue paper that had the crow or raven already on it. So that fits nicely in there. There's the next one. And these are all rubber stamps, a little bit of doily, some nice inking. And then, of course, I have some Da Vinci stamps. So that one I had a little fun with. Art can be whimsical. And I thought it would be funny just to put a little leaf, because that was done a lot to cover the parts up. So that's cute. I'll put that in there. And I have a different size of the same one. And that's all rubber stamped. Here's another stamp that I have. And I created a text document in my computer where I could type out different sayings. So that's all that is I made a page full of sayings that I could put on these things. Okay. This one's rubber stamped. This one is just a layer cut out. And this is just a layer after rubber stamping the leaves on there. See how nicely they fit? This works great. I'm not too sure what I'm going to use the tags for, but it might be for me making some comments on what I was thinking about. I could also write on that tag what company these rubber stamps came from, because that's always nice to give credit to the companies that originally created the stamps. Okay, so this is a fun one. So these are just rubber stamps, and what I did was I just inked the question mark and very carefully tapped it around. And this was a crackle background stamp. So I stamped the hand and then did the background after masking the hand. And here's another one of the art stamps. from Michelangelo. Actually, this would be a great place for this one. Some nice contrast between the paper and the ATC. We'll tuck that one in there. And then I thought, wouldn't this be fun? I mean, good ideas kind of pop into our mind from nowhere, but we kind of know where they come from. Just having some fun. And this is another one of those sayings that I put on that document that I printed out. And this is a rubber stamp of a door, rubber stamp of a key, just colored pencil. And I got some of these really cool fossils. So I thought that would kind of look like layers in strata. Is this a background of kind of, I don't know, it's a crackle background that kind of looks like old dried up clay. So that was that one. Hey, and if there's any of these you want me to go through step by step, I'd be happy to do it. Please just put it down in the comments down below and let me know what you'd like to, which one you'd like to see done from start to finish. This one is, I also sell circus stamps on my Etsy shop, and this is a set that I'm offering right now. I think I don't know how many are left right now, but he has these really great jugglers. So these are rubber stamps. And finally, there are some beachy stamps, which are also available on the Etsy shop as of this video's recording, that are from circus stamps. It's just a completely different theme. All sorts of beachy images in this set with seashells and fun things. So I've got room for more, and I could make more because I have a whole nother side to this. And I was thinking, well, what am I going to do over here? Because what I did in this one on this back side is I added journal pages. But I don't want to do this with this one. So what I decided to do, well, I tried a couple of things. I thought, well, I could make like, I could make, I'm going to get this right yet. I could make a corner pocket. But what happens with the corner pocket is that it just doesn't really allow enough room. I can't close the page for an ATC. So the corner pockets are fun. I could put it here, but if I put a corner pocket here, the problem again is it's going to stick out just a little bit, and when it's closed, these could get bent. So I don't want them to get bent. So nope, no, not going to do the corner pocket. So what I decided to do was belly bands. And so this could wind up quite thick. So let me get my scrap paper again. And let's do a couple of belly bands and try them out. Because what happens there, let's look at how nice that fits. And so now I can have belly bands. So I got a whole stack of belly bands ready to glue into place. But you see what happens. And then, of course, that means that this little thing with the 8 folded pieces of paper, and that gives us 16 pockets. So I can have 16 ATCs on this side and 16 ATCs on this side. So this winds up being quite a wonderful, fat little ATC pocketbook. And then all you got to do is close it all up. And there it is. A fun little ATC pocketbook with some little journaling spots. Pretty cool, huh? The other thing that you have going for you here is that because there's some white space on these pages, you could put notes on here as to who the rubber stamp companies are, or the stencils, or whatever your materials are, and where you got them or who you want to give credit to. So you could write notes of what your inspiration was. So you have all this wonderful white space to write in. And that is, of course, if you use single-sided scrapbook paper. So I hope that that was fun. And if you do ATCs or you're interested in doing ATCs, again, let me know in the comments that you'd like to see, whichever ones you'd like to see, and I will make those. And that is two of my interpretations of making an accordion book that you can journal in or use the pockets for other things. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and hope you come to the next video. Bye for now. I have one more thing to add to this video, and I went ahead and I finished it all off, and then I stretched it all out, and I went, hey, you know, this is a way that you could display it, and it's really fun. It could go on a shelf, and then you would always be seeing it, and you could, you know, move the ATCs around. You could turn it around and show the other side with the belly bands. So anyway, I just wanted to add this little afterthought. So here's another idea for you. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.